Hey Danny, how you doing, man?
Hello, Lewis. How are you?
I am good. I mean, I was sat in this room all morning. It is 10 a.m. I've been up bright and early, doing loads of stuff, as I always do.
Yeah.
And I've had the window open in this room, because this room gets insanely hot. So I've had the window open, I've had the door open, and now I've closed both of them, and they've been closed for 3 minutes, and I am already close to death.
Wow. What, from heat or from...
Yeah, from heat. Not from anything else in the world. Just heat.
No, just heat. It's so hot that you're it's past your body temperature, and
Yeah, the water in my body is boiling as I speak.
what was that thing I learnt in biology? Like,
Uh,
they used to sort of find out the body temperature by boiling rabbits or something like that.
what?
I
Is
can't
this some
remember.
kind of weird Scottish biology that I didn't learn?
No, but it was there's a boiling point where if you put a rabbit in, its flesh will just strip off immediately.
Oh,
Something like that. I can't remember.
I'm
It was a long
unsure, but that
time
doesn't
ago.
seem like a very sanitary way to test the temperature of things.
No, yeah.
Where's John? Has he got that sack full of dead rabbits?
That
We need to know
rabbit's-
how warm this lake is. And John just throws rabbits in at strategic points around the
That
lake.
rabbit's flesh and intestines have been stripped off immediately.
That part of the lake is roasted!
I don't think. I don't think the lakes in Scotland are that hot. I think what they did was they just boiled water in a pot.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Right,
I-
we need to go boil a rabbit. Let's go to the lake.
And there's they just got a fire next to the lake. They're just occasionally putting in a piece of hot wood from the fire and throwing it in the lake.
Yeah,
It's a slow way to cook a rabbit.
Yeah,
if the seagulls don't get it first.
they use the fire to to make things cold in the lake. The lake just boils them. All the temperature stuff's backward in Scotland, you know.
Oh, I see. Very
Yep.
very good.
We turn off the radiator.
Like Australia.
Yeah, a bit like that.
Like how the seasons are reversed in Australia versus the Northern Hemisphere, or vice versa, or
There's
something.
only really one season in Scotland, and it's shite.
It's drizzle. That's the
Yeah,
season.
the word we use is dreich,
Oh.
which just means sort of greyish and dread. So there you go. Come to Scotland.
Come to Scotland, it's grey.
Yep. Come to Scotland, it's dreich.
So, what's been going on in your life, Dan? Have you got any minor or major gripes? Anything you'd like to complain about? In true 10-minute bullshit tradition?
I don't. I feel really unprepared for the bullshit today. I didn't have anything up my sleeve.
Well, I always carry on me at any moment some enchantingly dull things to talk about.
Let's
So-
do that then.
Okay, you ready for the first dull thing? I have two pre-prepared, but I'm sure I could think of
Go
more.
on.
The first one is, this past couple of days, I've been trying to upload the YouTube video episodes of our podcast to YouTube, but holy fucking shit, does it take a long
Yeah.
time. Because the files are like 5 gigabytes and it takes days. And I put a post on Reddit and I said, how do I upload podcasts to YouTube more quickly? And they said, why are you uploading podcasts in extreme HD? Surely the entire point is that they sound good, not that they look good. Right, they are.
Yeah, that's
So now I have to re-export and process all of the videos and then generate smaller files so that I can do like 2 or 3 overnight.
that's pretty true. I mean, I never thought Reddit would be used for any good, but lo and behold, it's helped us. You know,
It has. How thrilling.
I'm on Reddit now just because you've
Oh, are you?
intrigued me. I don't
What's the top post on the front
I don't
page?
follow anyone.
No, I quite like a bit of Reddit. I think it's an interesting model for social media in that it, like, oh Christ, this is some grade A bullshit.
Go on.
But it's like it's one of the only social media websites where interests attract people rather than people attracting people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you're following whoever because you think they're interesting or you like their work or whatever, and you want to hear what they have to say. But I think like on Reddit, it's kind of, at least in theory, it's like you can subscribe to these subreddits and think, oh yeah, I am interested in American whiskies, and then there's like a subreddit dedicated entirely to that very specific niche.
There's something for everyone on Reddit.
Ain't that the truth?
Which can be a bit weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Every single interest has a subreddit.
It can get very weird.
Yeah. I'm looking at a post that says it's like a conversation between two people, and it's the first person is mum, and she's saying, Amy, am I a good mother? And Amy has replied, my name's Susan. So
okay.
there you go. So that's some funny stuff.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
The true good subreddits to visit on Reddit are the ones where it's sort of a rabbit hole subreddit. Like you only visit it sort of once every couple of months, but when you do, you fall down the rabbit hole badly.
Oh, aye.
Like there are lots of subreddits dedicated to like interrelationship, inter-family drama in a way. Like Just Know MIL is one of them, and MIL stands for mother-in-law. But they have this entire list of like acronyms and word shortenings and stuff that if you read through the subreddit, it's like they're flip-flopping between a different language and English. It's really weird. But like you go down the rabbit hole and the posts do get kind of fascinating in a really morbid curiosity type way. So those kind of subreddits are great. I'm a big fan of that. But then there are, like I'm looking at my list of subscribed subreddits now, and there are some really bizarrely specific things. Yeah. Like there's a subreddit called 11'8", and it's a subreddit entirely of videos and GIFs of trucks that thought they were shorter than the height limit for a bridge, which tried to drive underneath, but couldn't drive underneath, so the top of their truck got, like, peeled off. Like, you see what, that's such a specific interest sort of thing.
That is pretty funny.
It is. That's true.
It's a very good, sort of cornucopia of interests. Fuck, I'm down the rabbit hole now. We might have to cancel the podcast. I'm just too interested in Reddit.
Which rabbit hole have you fallen down?
I'm not really sure. I can't really describe it.
Most of my subreddits are either things that I'm interested in. So like I'm subscribed to a lot of different coffee subreddits because I'm a coffee nerd.
Yeah.
And like there are funny things, or they are animal-related things. So it's like I have lots. I'm like subscribed to a video, like a subreddit about corgis, because corgis are cool.
I am now looking at a bird that's fallen into a glass trying to get a sip of water.
I see. Well, at least this is fantastic podcasting material.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm too busy with Reddit to be focused on what's going on.
For people who don't know, I feel like we should vaguely
explain. Asked us.
What did he ask? I'm invested now.
I'm being so rude. Yeah, so I'm looking at this picture of a cat, and this this dog is saying flex your fingers, and the cat is just sort of, it can't because it's just got tiny little paws.
Okay.
And the post is called Wholesome Kitten. So
oh,
there
I see.
you go.
I see.
That's the sort of stuff you'll find on Reddit.
Oh, good stuff. I don't think I have any more Reddit-related material.
It's really a sort of, it's an individual thing. You know, it's a relationship between you and the app or the website. You know, so we can't really do it justice.
I think to some degree it is about customizing it to your own personal experience. Like, that's kind of the whole point. I feel like we should kind of explain Reddit, maybe.
Yeah, well, you'd probably be better at it than me.
Basically, Reddit is a social media in the loosest of senses, in that you sign up and you have to join these communities which are called subreddits. They're at very specific, like, hobbies or types of memes or very specific things. Like, I'm subscribed to a subreddit called Books because I like books, but they also get incredibly specific, like that 11'8" subreddit I mentioned earlier. They go from very specific to very broad, but the idea is you sort of generate this app experience for yourself. That's the idea. I know that sounds really sort of hippie nonsense, but that's the idea, is that you tailor it so that you look through it like it's news, but specifically tailored to your interests. Or not news, maybe just like more personal things. Like, oh hey, I bought this first edition Alice in Wonderland book. Although I doubt that that would cost like millions, so probably not, but you know what I mean.
Memes and things like that, you know. I love a good meme.
Who doesn't love a good meme? What's your favourite meme?
Oh, that's a tough one. I
think I don't have a specific favourite, but my there's this Facebook meme page called Cornetto Trilogy Memes or something, and it's like memes specifically from the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yeah.
So it's like screenshots of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and whoever else doing stuff with a punchline added. It's very specific, but I quite like it.
I'm trying. You just remember them off the cuff, and then when someone asks, "What's your favourite meme?" It's like, it's as if you've never heard of a meme before.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I like the one where Peter Griffin is it's like a video of him, and he's going, because he's hurt his knee, and like that's been like amplified to like the highest possible. It's like. It's so loud in your ear when you watch it. I like that.
I quite enjoy the Family Guy meme of it's like a Meg says, "You all think you're better than me," and then it's like they're all sat there on the sofa wearing really fancy suits and jackets and stuff like that. And it's just always I like memes. Memes are good. It's a very generation specific comedy genre. Like, I could see memes dying out in the near future, and don't get me wrong, other things will become memes, but memes in this specific format of a picture with text on it, it just feels like a weird, almost anachronistic way to convey the meaning of it.
As long as PewDiePie keeps making videos, I think memes will be around for quite a while.
I think I'm subscribed to PewDiePie on YouTube. I think the bulk of his subscribers, I think he must have a minuscule engagement rate. Like, the bulk of his subscribers must be people that subscribed to him at one point and then forgot.
Well, I mean, he has like 103 million, I think, but his engage rating is at like 7 million a video, if you know what I mean. Which...
so 7%. Yeah. That's not great.
But that's the same with everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but he, he gets like 3.8. He got 3.8 million views in 17 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. I suppose like gaming YouTubers, there's not a lot of rewatch value in their content, but like a YouTuber I've gotten quite big into in the last couple of weeks is Simone Yetch.
No.
Do you know who that is? She is like a maker YouTuber. It's this subculture I had no idea.
Yeah. I remember. I remember you telling me about her. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, builds shitty robots is her whole thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's like really cool to see somebody building something, and it makes me feel like I want to be more creative and stuff. I like it. It's cool. It's always good to fall down an internet rabbit hole every now and then. Whether it be a Reddit-related "my mother-in-law stabbed my dog" thread, or a YouTube channel that you like, that you enjoy.
I like binging with Babish.
I think I might have scrolled past a couple of those, because I do like. I am kind of big into like food, obviously, because I'm fat. But it's but yeah, I do watch a lot of different food YouTubers and stuff. Like Tell me about
Well,
binging
what he
with
does
Babish.
is he takes like famous like meals from films and pop culture
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tries to like remake them as best as he can. He's
Mm.
he's
That's
doing quite
cool.
well. He's got like 6 million subscribers, so yeah,
Yeah,
not
quite
bad.
well. Yeah,
Meh,
yeah.
meh.
There's one similar YouTuber I quite like is How to
Oh.
Drink, and the guy is called Greg. He makes cocktails. Like he did this once, like his big, I think his forefront series type thing is cocktails from films and TV, basically. So like he did, the Wake Up Juice from Back to
Yeah.
the Future 3, and he did that and was like, oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's like a Bloody Mary, but it's different, and so on and so on and so on. But he also does like a more cocktail nerd oriented
Yeah.
videos. So it's like he did this one video where it's like the history and development of the old fashioned, which is like a cocktail with I think it's demerara sugar and bitters and whiskey and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I like an old fashioned. So I watched this 30-40 minute video of him making 5 different old fashions and going, oh yeah, this one's a bit different because it was made in the Great Depression and it's got like a maraschino cherry in it and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, that's a really good YouTube channel. I recommend that.
I like him. I like Lemmy.
Limmy. Oh, Limmy from
Yeah,
Limmy's
he's got his
show.
own
Yeah.
YouTube channel. He does like Twitch streams and things like that, and he
Sure,
spends
sure.
like most of his time like just killing villagers in Minecraft. He just got, he created a machine in Minecraft that kills like 1,000 villagers at a time. Yeah,
Wow.
oh, he's hilarious. He is just so, he just does these random things. He did an impression of Richard E. Grant talking about Star Wars. Richard E.
Okay.
Grant, who, if you don't know, was in the last Star Wars film, and he said, "I've just been to see the new Star Wars film," and he was like nearly crying with like pride and things like that, and saying it was amazing. And Lemmy like did an impression of him saying that, and it was pretty spot on. Now I've went to see Star Wars, right, and it is
Okay.
not worth crying over. Okay, so Richard E. Grant is a massive bullshitter for one. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And if I ever meet Richard E. Grant and this comes up, then I'll say, "Oh, it was tongue in cheek. You know, I was only joking." But I'm deadly serious. What an and then Lemmy did an impression of him, and Richard E. Grant blocked him on Twitter. You know, but Lemmy just does that. He just does these stupid things that are really, really funny.
Have you seen that? I think Donald Trump or Donald Trump's Twitter team or something. They've sort of gone on a blocking spree, or they did a while ago. Like Stephen King, I think they blocked Stephen King on Twitter because he's so openly critical of Donald Trump. It's bizarre. One YouTube sort of rabbit hole I do like to go down is I like to embrace extremely nerdy things, and I mean obviously I am already a nerd about coffee, but there is so many YouTube channels dedicated to being a nerd about coffee. Like I think one of the big ones is James Hoffman. This guy who I think he won the World Barista Championship, which I didn't even know was a thing, but he won the World Barista Championship in 2004, 2007?
right.
I'm not sure. And then he started up a coffee roasting company, and now that's what he does. And also he has a YouTube channel, and he like wrote a book, and he vlogged this world tour of like this book tour type thing of going to like Australia and Singapore and all this sort of stuff. It's good, but then the interesting ones are where he's like, somebody sends him a product, a coffee related product, and he's like, okay, I'm going to try and make iced coffee with this iced coffee maker, and then he talks in great detail about like, well, I actually don't like this very much because it cools the coffee too quickly, and what you have is this, then the acid like denatures, and it gets very I think he's got some kind of a chemistry background, and so he gets very specific about it, and it's like if you Google books by James Hoffman, I think there's his book, which I think is called The Coffee Atlas of the World or something.
Oh my god.
And there's also like a chemistry paper, I think, or a physics paper or something like that. So it's combining two of my great loves, is chemistry and coffee, into this very specific YouTube channel. like he put a post on Instagram where he said because he got his silver play button for 100,000 subscribers or whatever it was. And he said, I don't think I'm ever going to get the gold one for 1 million subscribers because I don't think there are that many people that would be that into this extremely niche area that he makes videos about.
Well,
so,
maybe you could help that. Maybe you could bring some people along. Because I don't really like coffee, so maybe you could convert me.
To coffee. I do have a lot of coffee paraphernalia. I'll get my paraphernalia out and use it to convert you to coffee.
We could use that for episode 30 when it comes around.
Yeah, I'll come up to Scotland with my grinder and my AeroPress and my espresso machine. Hey, Danny! I'm here to make a
coffee on screen, eh? God, right, I think we've bullshitted for too long now.
We really have. It's becoming a bit of an outlet for me, the bullshit. It's just like very boring things that I don't really talk about in the day-to-day. They're just becoming something I talk about in the 10-minute bullshit.
And we subject these poor people to this nonsense. Oh, God. Anyway, what are we here to talk about, Lewis?
Today we are talking about the famous Netflix series, or is it just a TV series or something?
It's both.
It's both. Fucking way. We're talking about Better Call Saul. We're talking about Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, and Series 4, because Series 5 is airing at the minute, which is exciting. And Series 5 Episode 1 and 2 have come out, and we're going to talk about them as well. So we're going to talk about historical Better Call Saul and also modern-day, present Better Call Saul.
The first 2 episodes specifically.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's exciting, isn't it? It stars Bob Odenkirk, Jonathan Banks. I'm doing this without having Googled this, so Christ. Giancarlo Esposito.
Ray Seahorn.
I don't even know which character that is. Oh, okay, yeah.
Michael Mando.
I can't think of anybody else. Michael Lando.
Mando.
Okay.
And
Mando. Okay. I'm learning things.
And
today.
Michael McKean.
Okay, good stuff. And I feel like everybody should be aware, just in terms of like transparency and honesty. I have not watched series 1 to 4 of Better Call Saul. Danny sent me a big load of Instagram messages where he said, okay, these catch-up videos are good to catch you up on what happened in series 1 to 4, and you should probably watch these videos about the philosophy and thoughts behind different things that happen in Better Call Saul, and you should also probably watch these videos, which are like key scenes about different characters in Better Call Saul. So, over the course of one afternoon, I sat down and I watched all these videos, and it was like somebody had stuck a fibre optic cable into the back of my head and just downloaded all of this information in a hyper compressed time period. So I don't have notes for season 1 to 4, but I have thoughts, which are, if nothing else, abstract notes.
Excellent. Well,
we are gonna hopefully at some point I will put together all of those videos from YouTube videos into like a playlist on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to go and watch it. You'll be able to know what I know about series 1 to 4 of Better Call Saul.
It, which I just don't get why you wouldn't watch it. Oh. Anyway, so the show, we should mention, the show was created by Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, who are 2 incredible writers. Peter Gould actually came up with the character, Saul, so that's why he's like a major sort of creator on this show. And Vince Gilligan has said that he doesn't really take anything to do with it. It's really just Peter and his team of writers that sort of craft the show. And this might be a bit presumptuous, but I've got to say, I think I prefer Better Call Saul to Breaking Bad.
Controversial statement from Daniel Kerr. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've watched Breaking Bad. I think the reason that Better Call Saul is perhaps more well received in a lot of ways is that it's kind of a more relatable kind of intelligence that Saul has. Like Saul has a very social intelligence, and everybody has been in a situation where they've sort of perceived it as like almost a social victory to some way or another. Of like, even if it's just getting your order right at Starbucks without stumbling over your words or anything, everybody has had that little bit of success in a conversation that Saul has in great heaps every single day. Whereas it's a very small number of people that are sort of very chemistry oriented in the same way Walter White was / is / will be.
It's incredibly rare to get someone of that sort of intellect level genius while at the same time being so bitter and so hateful. But it's Heisenberg sort of. It was a very fast decline for Walt. It felt as if Heisenberg was always there and was just bubbling and just wanted to clamour out, and all Walt needed was an excuse to justify it. But Jimmy was sort of degraded into Saul over a long period of time, which is more, in my view, realistic of how someone could change so radically,
But I think it's in a funny way, it's sort of representative of the type of frustration they hold, in that Walter White has spent his whole life being trodden down on, and I think his, at the start of the series, when we see his emasculation in his marriage, and we see him, kids at his school disrespecting him, that's like a way of life for him. And so I think he constantly does have the Heisenberg thoughts of, I could just put a bomb in a wheelchair with this guy, or whatever, do you know what I mean? I think he constantly does have those thoughts, whereas I think it takes a while for Saul Goodman to be born within Jimmy McGill before he even considers, maybe I should become Saul Goodman, sort of thing.
Definitely. Should we do our opening statements?
Ooh, go on then. My opening statement for season 1 to 4 is, of course, I had forgotten how cool these characters are. I had forgotten how much I'd missed Gus Fring. I think he's someone I didn't quite appreciate in the original Breaking Bad series, because I was so much more hyper-focused on thinking, what's Walt going to do next? What's the next move for Walt? But Fring is so good. All of his scenes, all of his character is so good. And I think I'd missed all of that. That's the end of my opening statement. I haven't really got much more to say.
Giancarlo Esposito will be kicking himself that you dedicated your opening statement to him. A prequel with so much depth, and one of the only spin-offs that rival the original. In my opinion, this show is more complex than Breaking Bad, and in truth, I'm more interested in the characters than I was with the original show.
Ooh. I think another thing I did appreciate about earlier Better Call Saul is the Mike stories. Mike was a very one-dimensional character in the original series. It was he's a tough bloke and he loves his granddaughter, and that was about it. But now we see his very intense self-loathing, and just see what I mean. I think that's good. That's a nice thing.
Definitely. Well, the first thing, if we're moving on to creepy room questions, the first thing I have to ask you is, Lewis, are there any questions that you have that you didn't get, or things that you're unsure of? Because
not so much things I'm unsure of. I'm not sure. I think
it's just because I am like a walking encyclopedia of this show. I've watched it so many times in preparation for season 5, and I know it like the back of my hand, and I love talking about it. So if any queries,
no queries. Although I do think it's the nature of this is the nature of the information download versus just watching it. Saul's brother,
Chuck.
Chuck. I think that's interesting. His obsession, phobia with electricity, about how he doesn't seem to differentiate between like a battery of like direct current that's inert when it's not actually plugged into anything, and like alternating current wires that are like in your walls. I think that's a really fascinating sort of, what was it? Is it allergic to electromagnetic radiation or something?
electromagnetic hypersensitivity.
Ah, okay. So is he afraid of like the sun?
Well, yeah. So it's made sort of, it's hinted at very sort of early in the game, and then sort of confirmed in season 3 that the illness that he has is very psychological, and it's most likely a result of his relationship with Jimmy. Like any time Jimmy does something that sort of is breaking the rules or cutting corners, Chuck will sort of go into this state, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
It started like when Jimmy when did it actually start? It started when he divorced his ex-wife, Rebecca, and he didn't divorce his ex-wife. He divorced his wife, and then she became his ex. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And but when Jimmy sort of like became a lawyer, and like, you know, he passed the bar and things like that without telling anyone, and Chuck sort of had to pretend that he, you know, was happy about that. It started to like resurface, and you know, and it became more intense as Jimmy did, you know, more things. But he gets better towards the end of season 3, on the surface anyway, and then Jimmy comes to see him because he feels bad about all the stuff that's happened between them, and Chuck says, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but the truth is that you never mattered all that much to me. And I think that is the reason that Chuck dies, and also the reason that Jimmy becomes Saul. Like, you know, because the only emotional tie left that Jimmy has is Kim, and that's already beginning to erode. We'll talk about obviously season 5 later on, but it's like you can see that she is just not on board with Saul, with this new persona. And I've got to say, I think Kim is like my favourite character in the show. Like, the one thing I didn't like about Breaking Bad is that, well, it was more so the sort of the fan base and how they reacted to Skylar and how toxic they were to her. But and maybe I don't think they sort of did their sort of female characters justice. Like, rewatching it, I really like Skylar. I think she's very competent. I think she's very smart. She knows, but it's a very thankless role that Anna Gunn portrayed. But Kim is, you know, is portrayed in a much better light. You know, she's so sharp. She's so intelligent. You know, and she's so moral as well. And yet she has these slipping moments, just like Jimmy. And she's never sort of, you know, she's always fighting between, well, doing the right thing and going Jimmy's way, you know. But I think she's definitely my favourite character in the show.
Yeah. I think that
that was a big
I understand what you're saying about Kim.
Rant.
No, it's more than okay. I had a rant about like coffee YouTubers 10 minutes ago. It's okay. But Kim does seem to be an interesting character. She because I instinctively dislike her. I don't know what it is about her character, but like, obviously, like, we're going to talk about season 5 in a bit, but instinctively, I dislike her. She's doing stuff in, like, when they go, I'm going to have to talk about season 5 now, I'm really sorry, so spoilers about season 5, but they go and view this house together, and she's just, like, real miserable the whole way around, and it's like, I don't know, I get that she's miserable for a reason, but I don't know, it's just, I instinctively dislike her, and I'm not sure what it is.
Really? Wow. I don't know. I really like Kim. The reason I really like their relationship is because it's so, like, the first scene that they have together, they barely speak, and they share a cigarette, and you just know the entire context of that relationship. It's like they know each other so well that sometimes they just don't even have to say anything. And they just know exactly what they're talking about. But I've never disliked Kim, like, instinctively. I've always thought that she was a sort of she got the raw end of the stick when she, fell in love with Jimmy.
I think it's a funny thing because it's like I do enjoy the relationship between Kim and Saul, Kim and Jimmy, because it's based on open communication and sort of honesty and they're sort of, what's the word? They're being each other's cheerleader in a way. They're helping drive each other to new heights and stuff like that. And I like seeing a healthy relationship played out on TV, and because you so often don't. Even if it's like, I mean, Christ, let's not have another Friends rant. But so many sitcoms are full of people that have bad relationships, but they're portrayed as good relationships, and it's just such a weird thing that I don't quite get. And but I appreciate that the Kim and Saul relationship is a good one, and I appreciate that is being portrayed well in a way.
I instinctively disliked Skylar, but I think that's because the show sort of pitted you against her. It's like,
Yeah, it did.
Walt is doing these things and she just became a sort of hindrance to them.
I think even on a basic level, you're sort of watching it thinking, yeah, great, they've got some kind of domestic dispute going on, but I want to watch Walt cook meth again. Can we go back to that, please?
And the reason I don't dislike Kim instinctively is because I think that they made sort of Skylar entirely sort of tied to Walt and the family. She wasn't really anything outside of that. But Kim is she's a lawyer in her own right, and she
has her own stuff going on.
There's a chance that she'll get out of this, scot-free, which I don't think will happen. I think I don't know what will happen with Kim. I can't really see her dying, because it's been 2 different shows up until this point. It's been, Breaking Bad, Verse, and then fucking Suits in the other one. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're starting to converge. So I don't know. I hope she doesn't die, because I really like her. I hope that she gets away from Jimmy.
Yeah, it's sort of the opposite of Heisenberg's end. It's like, he sort of, if he does die at the end, then he gets off scot-free, which is sort of a horrible thought, really, when you consider it. But then you're looking at Kim and you think, yeah, well, I wanted to get away scot-free, and she really should.
Yeah.
She is the victim in a lot of these different situations.
Definitely. What did you think? We touched on it briefly, but what? Any thoughts on Chuck and Jimmy's relationship?
I think it's an interesting example of a family dynamic, and I know that's a very dumb thing to say, but in the sense of people talk about saying, oh, this business, it's like a small business, a startup. You'd talk about, I treat all of my employees like family, and I treat my co-management like brothers and sisters, and and so on and so on. You can hear people saying that in a corporate sales pitch, can't you?
Yeah. But
that's a bad thing, because families are naturally dysfunctional, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of thinks, yeah, grandma's great, but bit racist. Do you know what I mean? It's it's a dysfunctional relationship where you love each other, but you still sort of acknowledge each other's faults. And I think that's what Jimmy wants and is trying to achieve, and what Chuck desperately doesn't want. I think he has this deep-seated hatred for Jimmy to a degree where he can't love him but accept his faults. He can only see the faults, and he can only sort of hate him.
I think it all comes down to the fact that Chuck is a very intelligent man. He's very, his realm is the law, and he's always had his brother who's been up to no good and dipped into his mum and dad's till, and he's always been able to make people laugh, and that's the area that Chuck has no influence over. He's not a funny person. He isn't, very sociable. He can't really do that. But he still has the law. He still has the thing that he holds sacred. And when Jimmy starts to sort of encroach on that, Chuck instinctively is like, no, you're not taking this as well. You have your sociable thing that I hate, and you can do that, but the law is my domain, and then
Yeah.
to get absolutely destroyed in court, where
By
by
Jimmy.
Jimmy
Yeah.
in the place that Chuck has won so many cases is just like an ultimate defeat, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And it's such a sad thing to watch as well, because Chuck is such an arsehole in the show, you know, hating your brother because he can make people laugh, but
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
But the genius of the writing is that it's not as clear cut as that. It's not as clear cut as Chuck is the bad guy and Jimmy's, you know, the poor guy who's, you know, just trying to get through life. Jimmy does some really
Everybody's kind of grey.
Jimmy does some really horrible things. Chuck does some really horrible things, and that scene with his mum. Jimmy's went away to get sandwiches, and his mum sort of wakes up, and she's like, "Jimmy," and Chuck's like, "No, Mum, it's me, Chuck," and she's like, "Jimmy," and Chuck is like, just like heartbroken that she doesn't.
Yeah,
She dies right there.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that in my brain download. But
Yeah,
Christ.
but and that's like a flashback, and like she did, the last thing she says is Jimmy, and Jimmy comes back and it's like, what happened? Did she wake up? Did she say anything? And Chuck just goes, "No."
Oh, yeah. It's I think that's what I appreciate about very good drama is everybody is a grey character.
Yeah.
There's no moral right and wrong in the Breaking Bad universe because it's in a modern setting. Any villain, any protagonist that you've pitted against the establishment can do no wrong. If you set up a drama and the villain was small businesses, small independent businesses, then there is no way people would think the main character was a good person in the modern political climate. Nobody would think that or say that. But because everybody now is very anti-establishment, I disagree with what the government's doing and saying, I disagree with mega corporations like Google and Facebook and Apple, that's what makes Jimmy sort of morally excused from anything.
But it's like, you know, you do that at your peril, you know, because if the little guy becomes big enough, he could end up becoming the thing that he hates, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then season 4, when after Chuck dies, Jimmy just sort of stuffs his feelings down to the bottom, and just sort of like, it's just no recognition of Chuck's death. And then you get to the end of the season, and you see him crying in his car, and you know it's like, oh, he's finally having an emotional response to Chuck's death, and it comes to the appeal to sort of get his law license back, and he gives this amazing speech, and the judges are crying, and Kim's crying, and you know it's just like, oh, he's finally feeling something. And then when they walk out, he's just like, did you see those suckers? That one arsehole was crying. Kim was crying. So whether he realised it or not, he's talking about Kim. Kim is sitting there tearing up and crying her eyes out, and right there he just goes, yeah, I'm not going to be practising under the name McGill, I'm going to become Saul. And Kim is just left dumbfounded at this sight of this new person that she's walking home with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, that raises the question, does Jimmy feel anything for his brother's passing?
I think he did, but I don't think so now. I think Chuck hurt him so much that he would rather just kill that person dead and just become someone else.
Yeah.
You know, because it just hurts too much. So just turning off the emotional tap is probably, in his view, the best way to go for it, you know. And it's there was an interesting video when we're talking about the establishment and things like that, that said Jimmy comes to the realization that the moral establishment are ultimately just about winning and losing, and he comes to the conclusion that right and wrong are just irrelevant, and you do whatever you can to win. And that ABBA song that Chuck and Jimmy sing at the end of season.
Winner takes it all. Yeah.
And it's like Jimmy would have you believe that there was like no reason to remember his brother fondly, and we're all, you know, completely on side with Jimmy up until this point, and then we see this scene of the two of them singing together and having a good time. It's just like, fuck, he's lying, he's deceived us, you know. Chuck and Jimmy did love each other on some level, but just they're both in complete denial of the things that went wrong in their relationship. Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. It's all good.
It is good. So, God. Yeah, I mean, I remember when they introduced Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad, and it was genuinely years before I put that together. Saul good, man. Years before I put that together, but yeah.
And see, when you look at Breaking Bad, could you ever have imagined that they would have created such an in-depth character with so many flaws and so many, you know, just different elements to him? He was so one-dimensional. He was just this crooked lawyer who was okay with doing anything, and then suddenly I think he's just more interesting than Walter White. I think he's just got so many more layers to him, you know. And I'm still asking questions about what he does and what he's thinking. But Gus and that side of the story as well. What do you think of?
Yeah, I'd forgotten how much I'd missed Gus. I know this was my opening statement, but holy shit, it's all of my favourite moments from Breaking Bad, looking back, are sort of Gus moments.
Definitely.
Like that bit, I forget even the context of this, but Gus gets into an elevator, and somebody has just put two and two together, that the chicken guy is also the meth empire guy, and instead of, like, doing a proper emotional human reaction and, like, going, oh, fuck, or even lashing out and hitting something, or screaming or whatever, he's just like taps together his index or his middle finger and his thumb.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's like, that's the maximum emotional reaction that he will permit himself to have. And he is a machine-made man, and it is all business with him. And that's what amazes me about that.
He's the living embodiment of a corporation. Just totally unfeeling. And his one mistake was letting himself feel emotion. And that's what got him killed, you know. I will kill him. It's me that kills him, you know. And then he goes and gets blown up.
Yeah. You're completely right. It's what was I saying then? You're completely right. The only time he feels any kind of emotion, and it's a revenge emotion, which does benefit his business.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing I keep likening that to in my head is like it's like when McDonald's or somebody say, oh yeah, we're going to stop serving plastic straws in our restaurants, but that's not really the biggest issue with McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? It's a token issue. From the public perception, we are permitting them to feel the emotion of we're really sorry that we've been like pouring plastic into the ocean for 50 years or whatever.
Exactly.
And as a result, we're going to stop serving plastic straws. But then you think, yeah, okay, but what are the greenhouse gas emissions like for the trucks that take the hamburgers from A to B to... Do you know what... Because there are so many...
Exactly.
Like McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? It's a bizarre thing.
And see when companies put up, or like when Starbucks come out with these pride flag coffee cups, it's like, no. You're not doing it because you care about the issue. You're doing it because you're trying to hijack the social movement so that you can sell more things. You know, that's the only reason you're... And that's such a horrible way to live, that's what you think about every single day. It's just, how do we get more people in? Well, this pride thing is catching a bit of fire, maybe we should do that. And then they come out with all these fucking pride paraphernalia as if they've always been doing it. It's like, no, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It is horrible. You're completely right. It's and
that is Gus. Gus is just he has.
You're right. That is Gus.
He has this one emotional tie to his Now it's not explicitly stated whether the two of them were lovers or whether it was a relationship like Walt and Jesse, if you know what I mean. But he whatever the feelings were, he is incredibly emotionally tied to this person because he waits years and years and years for his revenge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's incredibly driven. And see the best bits of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's when Gus is playing chess with other people. It's when he's
He's
sort of outmaneuvering his opponents, and that's what I love about this new character Lalo, who's come in.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what they're referencing to with Lalo?
I don't know.
In the first episode, when we meet Saul in Breaking Bad, Walt and Jesse kidnap him and take him to the desert, and Walt removes his hood, and Saul is looking at this pit that they've obviously dug, and Saul says, no, it wasn't me, it was Ignacio, he's the one. No.
Oh,
and, you know, Nacho?
Yeah, Ignacio.
That's the Ignacio he's referencing to, and it's like, just speak English, and Saul's like, Lalo didn't send you, no Lalo, and it's like, who?
Oh.
And then he goes, oh, thank God, thank Christ. You know, he's tied up. He's like, oh, thank God. I thought, oh God.
Oh, I'd forgotten all because Saul, I think his main sort of is outside of the drama of the show, his main thing was like comedic relief, almost. But yeah, oh thank Christ, yeah, that's
but
good.
They've turned a comedic moment into like almost the entire plot of the show, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
But I like Lalo. I want to see where it goes with Lalo. Lalo's a smart cookie. I wonder what's going to happen to Nacho as well. Whether he's going to get killed. Oh, I don't know. There's just so many moving pieces now.
Yeah, there are. It's the thing. It's have you ever heard the term like a dry anger versus wet anger? Yeah, I think that's Gus is like the human embodiment of that dry anger. You're not streaming with tears and nose is running and you're flailing about your arms and it's you're spitting words at somebody in a wet anger way. It's a controlled hate. He just channels through his body. He's incredibly driven to like have this meth empire. You know?
It's to his core. It's like it's there. It's stuck there, and until he gets what he wants, it's never going away. What do you think about the gene sequences?
The gene sequences. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking about Gale then for a second.
No.
The genes. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think that he's living his life held hostage by this paranoia.
Yep.
Like his entire life is just going to be looking over his shoulder, because the disappearer guy said, it's not going to be easy to disappear you. Your face was on every billboard in New Mexico. Like, it's impossible to do this sort of thing, and it's just really brilliant.
It's really cool. I'm very curious to see where it goes. I think that's really season 1 to 4, isn't it?
That is a bit season 1 to 4,
yeah,
isn't it?
So
go rattling through them.
yeah. So will we do closing statements for season 1 to 4?
Aye. I really like good drama, and this show made me remember how much I like good drama, with incredibly compelling characters that. It's what I always say about drama is it needs to be simple before it can be complicated. And that's what Breaking Bad did well and Better Call Saul does very well. Like, on the surface, if you were just watching it without trying to think deeper into any meaning, it's like, yeah, okay, Mike is just a bitter, angry ex-cop, Gus is just a power-hungry villain, Saul is an anti-hero, and so on and so on and so on. But then it becomes more complicated. You realise they are all very grey individuals, they all have different emotional journeys through the show. I really appreciate good drama, and I really appreciate this show.
Seasons 1 to 4 are a slow burn to get Jimmy to the point where he is so empty and conscienceless that only Saul can thrive. I cannot wait to see what they do next.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's That's like you say. That's what we've all been waiting for. I think I say we. It's what everybody's been waiting for. I really can't wait for Saul to do something. I can't wait for Saul to come out of Jimmy and do stuff.
Yep. And now we're finally here at that point.
Yeah.
So, episode 501.
Yes, series 5, episode 1. Lots of good stuff in this. It was my watching it was like pouring a bucket of cold water over my head, and I was plunged back into this world of. So this is what good drama looks like. So this is how it's supposed to be done, sort of thing.
The episode is.
By the way, I don't know if anybody can hear that. There's a furious dog outside, and I'm not sure why it's furious.
I can hear
it.
It's like, let me in. I want to speak about Better Call Saul.
For fuck's sake.
So what's your opinion about Sandpaper Dog? Well, it's rough.
Oh, that was
501.
That is shocking.
Thank you very much.
The episode is called Magic Man. It was written by Peter Gould. It was directed by Bronwyn Hughes. It's starring Bob Odenkirk, Jonathan Banks, Ray Seahorn, Tony Dalton, Giancarlo Esposito, and Michael Mando. Yeah.
Well, hey. Right. My opening statement is, I had forgotten how compelling the characters are. Such good acting and such good settings. I love it. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed this sort of Albuquerque, New Mexico setting. And I know that sounds like a very simple praise, but I really had forgotten how much I enjoyed it. It's this aesthetic that you never ever see in anything else.
Yeah, it's
ever.
like a neo-western.
It's really cool. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it.
Exactly. A strong start to the series that logically follows up with the last season. Everything feels on edge, like the calm before the storm, the deep breath before the plunge. It's not going to be a gradual decline anymore. It's going to be a massive fall.
Indeed it is.
Yeah. So,
Creepy room questions.
Oh, I've got lots of creepy room statements of, this is dead cool, this is really cool, this is really cool.
That's cool.
I do have a question though. Why do they put the drugs in a chair?
Because I'd imagine it's for convenience for Mouse, the woman, who can just sort of roll around and just go to one sort of port after the other and just take them out very easily.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So burning question. Why do they put the drugs in a chair?
I think. Right, sorry. Go
How
on.
will Gene fix things himself?
My immediate reaction was, what? So is he just going to kill that guy? But that can't be his go-to, because that's going to get him involved with the police, and then he's got to deal with that.
I think so.
So like,
I think Saul's going to make a re-emergence, and he's going to do some Magic Man stuff.
I can't remember whether it was the first episode or the second episode of this series where he was in the tent giving away the phones.
Yes.
Was that episode 2?
No, it was episode 1, but they follow.
Oh, fantastic! We can talk about it then. But I really enjoyed that. It really does sort of give an example to Saul's social genius. He could sell anything to anybody.
Yeah.
That is his thing. Is he could just manipulate anybody just with words. It's so incredible. It's a 1 in a million type thing that you wouldn't even consider is the case, because we're so used to this stereotype of a fast talking lawyer or a overconfident lawyer or whatever. Like, you watch Suits and it becomes almost laughable eventually when they're handed a document. They look at it for half a second and go, this is a subpoena or whatever. Yeah. Could you really? It's a densely worded document. I know you've been a lawyer for a while, but come on now. But I love how Saul he talks that talk and then follows it up with actual sort of legal advice in a way. Like the stuff when he comes into a room and he's like, hey, have you seen any good suspects today? And he's immediately like, even though he is joking around, he is planting little seeds in their head. Yeah. And it's like, no, you haven't seen any good suspects today because my client's innocent and all this and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, and like the way he insults the police officers, it's like, Jesus, you guys get younger every day, so go out, get a juice box, take a nap, and you just we're still yet to see that, because it's like every time he laughed or he said something Breaking Bad, it would follow up with a, that sort of gritty, sort of, cheeky laugh. I think after Kim goes, we'll start to see just this, this very crooked and very funny guy that just will do anything. Because I still can't imagine it at the moment. It's getting there, but in the first episode we meet Saul. He says, "Why don't you just kill Badger?" He's completely nonchalant about killing people.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy is not there yet. He's still. I think he's still a moral kind of person, in some respect. I don't think he would kill anyone yet, but we need to.
Yeah.
We'll get to that point, I'm sure.
I think I want to give an honourable mention to Jonathan Banks.
Right.
His performance, I think, is so underrated in both Breaking Bad and this. I think it's not so much a skill of like obviously he has incredible range, from that sobbing on the sofa talking about his dead son to being a tough guy in a parking garage or whatever. But he does so much acting with so much acting with so little movement or facial movement or anything. It's like Clint Eastwood is another person who does this, and it's always something I've been quite impressed by in a funny way. Is the slightest eyebrow raise or shake of the head or whatever, and it means something different. Do you know what I mean? I'm really impressed by that sort of minimalistic acting.
Yeah, it's so because that's what human beings do in real life. We don't flail our arms around and just shout and scream. Everything is sort of internal for most human beings. It's like we don't really want to show how we're feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should give a shout out to Robert Forster, who sadly passed as well. They dedicated the episode to him at the end, which I thought was lovely, and he has a wee cameo in this as the disappearer, which is nice. But it means that they're not going to be able to use that again. That
it does.
That Deus Ex Machina almost.
Unless they can maybe get someone to mimic his voice and have it shot from behind or something.
It's not really their style though. They don't really do that. They normally just sort of work with what they have. But yeah.
It's one of the most impressive things about Breaking Bad, I thought, was I think it was season 6, where they introduced, right in the first episode, that enormous machine gun. Apparently they just put that in, and they didn't know what they were going to do with it. They just wrote that into the end of the episode without a plan of how or when they were going to use it. They just thought, well, it'd be nice if he just had one. And then down the road we'll find a use for it. But I think it'd be a cool thing if we just talk about it and put it in. I like that a lot.
That is amazing. It's almost like setting a challenge for yourself. Let's just see.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just see what we can do. Do you think Lalo is as smart as Gus?
No. I don't think anybody's as smart as Gus.
What?
I think even Walter White wasn't as smart as Gus. I think it's Gus is only let down by his emotional attachment to I've forgotten his name. The Salamanca who's in the old person's home. That's his only failing. Hector, that's the one. Yeah. I don't think Lalo is cleverer than Gus. No.
Fair enough. I think he's.
Do you?
I think he's certainly up there. I don't. He doesn't come across as intelligent. Because of the family that he comes from. They all just seem like maniacs and killers. But Lalo just says at the beginning, it's like, I've got a good head for numbers. So I think if you wanted to show that you were intelligent, you probably not want to let people know that you're intelligent, if you know what I mean. But the way he just sort of puts 2 and 2 together, and Bolsa, the sort of a cartel consigliere, believes Gus's story about the German guy. Lalo does not buy it for a fucking second. He just knows he can smell bullshit from a mile away.
That's a good point. Maybe he is playing into the Salamanca reputation, and he's like I say, playing into it and saying, Okay, I'm very clever, but I'm going to appear as just another crazy thug.
Yeah,
So he wants people to think that he's stupid, so that they'll say things in front of him and can put two and two together, like you say. And
that's it. I think that's what he's aiming for. Yeah. How do you think Gus will get Mike back?
I would imagine Mike runs out of other people to work for. I think because at the time we meet Gus in Breaking Bad, Gus is the only meth dealer in town.
Yes.
So I imagine it might just be that Mike runs out of other people to work for.
But in Breaking Bad, Mike is like extremely loyal to Gus.
That's true. That's very true.
So I can't see Mike sort of going back to someone that has emotionally wronged him in some way. He would just sort of completely cut them off. So I think something drastic has to happen to sort of regain that trust that they had, and I'm curious to see how they do that.
Maybe, I reckon it'll have to be something to do with his granddaughter. That's the only thing he really seems to care about.
Yeah, or is
it'll have to be some sort of Gus protected Mike's granddaughter from some kind of Salamanca hit or something like
maybe.
that.
And maybe Gus organised it almost.
Yeah.
Manipulated it. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one.
I have a bit of a. It's sort of a legit. It's in the same vein as my earlier question about why put the drugs in a chair. But when they're disbanding the Germans,
yeah,
why send them home if the job is only half done?
Because Lalo's sniffing around, and I think Lalo would probably find out about the project.
Okay, yeah, because they're building the super lab. Is that the whole
That's
point?
Right. Yeah, they're building the super lab.
Okay, cool. The super lab was so cool.
It really was.
I'd forgotten it, but it's so cool.
A nice little touch is that the head guy that Mike had to kill at the end of season 4, his first name was Werner.
Yeah.
That's the sort of pseudonym that Walt chose. Werner Heisenberg.
Oh yeah, Werner Heisenberg. Yeah.
That was a nice wee touch. So it's Werner that makes the super lab, and it's Heisenberg that uses it.
That is very cool. I like that.
That's a nice wee touch.
I have a question. Did Saul orchestrate the drama crew?
Yes.
The people that came into the court?
Yes.
Definitely, right?
He did.
Because the implication is that it's left sort of vague. Because the cameraman, so the sound guy asks for a card, and so does the reporter lady, and then other people are like, oh, yeah, maybe I should get a card as well. I think Saul definitely orchestrated
See,
that.
because you haven't seen the series, they've been in it before, and
okay.
and he uses them quite frequently. Those UNM students. So good insight though.
Oh, good stuff.
Do you think that was on purpose? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, well, I have a question.
Go on.
Have the people in this show never watched Suits? I mean, I know that it's set in the 90s or whatever, but come on now. Never let it go to trial. That's like the whole thing in Suits. Never let it go to trial.
I think that is a thing though, like, in real life. It's that I think you would want to avoid a trial because there's so many unpredictable parts that move around. If you can get a good deal before you go to a trial, I think that's something that lawyers actually do. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to borrow from Suits, But Suits is borrowing from someone else,
Definitely.
Suits is like borrowing from like Ally McBeal or something like that. Just there's a million lawyer shows that America loves lawyer shows, don't they?
Yeah. I think Suits is a very American show.
Yeah.
I think you'll know what I mean by that. It's like if you told me it was all filmed in a studio on a soundstage sort of thing, I'd go, yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
It's all filmed in LA in a studio, or that seems reasonable. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think it's actually filmed in Canada.
Is it?
I think so. I think I read that online somewhere. A couple of the buildings they use are just sort of in Canada, so they just hop over the border and do that.
Well, there you go. A nice wee bit of Suits trivia.
Oh yeah.
Do you think so?
God.
That's funny. Oh god, it's funnier than it should be. How long do you think Kim and Jimmy have before their relationship fractures?
I'm not sure. I think it's not going to fracture. I think it'll be a knock-on effect of something that Saul does. I don't think it'll be a direct effect, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think it'll be Saul ends up in a situation where somebody has to be killed in order for whatever situation to right itself. And he'll realise he doesn't want to tell Kim that because that will make Kim hate him. But Kim sort of figures out that something's wrong and it's just like, right, well, this is my parachute moment. And so it jumps out the window and pulls a parachute and flies away, sort of thing.
Yeah. I looked at the episode titles for the season, and episode 7 is Wexler v. Goodman.
Oh, okay.
So I think they're going to end up in court against each other.
You think?
Yeah. So that I think. And I think it'll have something to do with I think you're right. Someone is going to probably die, and it's probably going to lead on to. And Kim is just going to be like, "No, I have to stop this person. He's no longer Jimmy McGill. He's now someone else."
Yeah, I got you.
So they briefly touched on it when Lalo and Bolsa were walking away from the compound, and Lalo calls Maximino Encarsagia, who was Gus's partner, his boyfriend. Now,
sure.
It comes across as that Lalo is making a derogatory joke at that, but maybe but maybe the writers are just actually not saying no, they were lovers.
Well, if that's the case, it's certainly a better type of representation than the J.K. Rowling brand of representation.
Yeah, rather than shoving it in after you've finished your books.
It's ridiculous. It's the thing, right?
Dumbledore
Rant time.
The entire
That's the thing that gets me about that is like, in the past, she's justified it by saying, "Oh yeah, we didn't want to. I didn't want to. It would have made it too complicated, or it would have been too difficult to write." It is not difficult to write that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she said, "Oh yeah, Dumbledore was gay and Dumbledore was with Grindelwald," and it's like, yeah, okay, great. But why didn't you put that in the book? Oh, well, it would have been too difficult, way too complicated for me to write. It's not difficult.
It's not. I've read her books.
Because Dumbledore literally has a speech where he says something like, oh yeah, way back when I was like best mates with Grindelwald and we were really good friends. But she could have just changed that speech to be like, I knew Dumbledore, I knew Grindelwald in the 40s or the 30s or whatever.
Yeah.
But little did I know that the man I was falling in love with had such a bad heart, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not difficult. It frustrates me because it's deliberately done because she wants to sell more books.
Yeah, exactly. And even though that she's now retconned that, in the films, the Fantastic Beasts films, they're still not lovers.
Yes,
Despite the fact that she said, no, they definitely are. They definitely are. It's like, no, no.
It's I don't get it because it's like, how are you gonna? I remember when the Fantastic Beasts 2 trailer came out, and I was thinking, oh god, who is it that plays Dumbledore?
What's his name?
Oh god,
is it Ian something?
I don't know. I'm completely blanking. I'll come back to it later. I'll Google it and then put it into the episode.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, I remember looking online and thinking, Jude Law. Oh god, that is an adrenaline rush and a half. But yeah, Jude Law.
I thought you meant. I thought you meant the.
Oh no, Michael Gambon, and then. Who was it? It was Michael Gambon played late Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And Ian Harris, Michael Harris,
someone I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's a real adrenaline high for a second.
Have you ever seen that meme where it's like, I went to a Harry Potter book signing to meet J.K. Rowling, and she told me that I was gay the entire time.
It's yeah, but I remember watching the Fantastic Beasts 2 trailer and thinking, well, Johnny Depp that looks like a massive weirdo and Jude Law, I mean, yeah, okay, I get it, But I remember at the time I was thinking either it's going to be a vaguely weird, confusing love scene where Johnny Depp is quite clearly a lot older than Jude Law, or it's going to be that they're just not going to address it. They're going to deliberately make Grindelwald look kind of weirdly ugly and go with, okay, we're just not going to address the Dumbledore Grindelwald thing. We're just not going to deal with it.
It's the equivalent of the Jared Leto thing. It's like, how am I supposed to know they're bad if they don't look ugly? Oh god.
Yeah, it's like Disney villains.
Yeah, it's
the Disney heroes and villains are always attractive and ugly. She's
like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has
who is J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, Hillary Clinton was against gay marriage, and then when she ran for like president in like 2012 or something like that, she was like, no, I've always been for it. If you check my record, I've always been for it. It's like bollocks. It's like, it's okay to change your opinion and just admit that you were wrong, but trying to pretend that it was always there and you've just not seen it is just so much worse, because it just insults the intelligence of everyone that reads your books, and it just takes away what could have been really interesting, a really interesting storyline. It's like Dumbledore and Grindelwald fell in love, but because of the constraints of the time they couldn't, show it openly. But
yeah, and Dumbledore dealt with that pain by moving on from it and founding a magic school. Oh, I wouldn't found it, but okay. But Dumbledore dealt with that by becoming headmaster of Hogwarts, and Grindelwald dealt with that by being a wizard racist. Do you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to that's an interesting arc that you could put in the series.
Yeah, but no, she tacks it on at the end because it's, it'll sell. The
thing that really frustrates me about it is that like the original Harry Potter books were released without that being a thing, because she knew that let's say, for the sake of argument, that J.K. Rowling always knew that Dumbledore was gay.
Right. Okay.
Then she must have released the books, deliberately not said that Dumbledore was gay, because she knew that it would sell more books if he was straight.
Yes.
Because homophobes exist.
Yeah.
And then now, at a point when being gay is more accepted, she's now saying it because she wants to appear woke.
Yes.
Oh, it just really annoys me. It really annoys me.
I hate that term so much. Woke.
It's
woke. Like, it's just a buzzword that people who just want to appear as if they're. It's like if you just fucking try hard to just talk shite and just add stuff on at the end of their book series. You know what I mean? God's sake. Anyway, Better Call Saul.
Saul was secretly gay the whole time.
God, so it's really just pathetic, isn't it?
It really frustrates me. Because when you've finished something, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's right. Okay, I can't get on this hill. We've got another episode of Better Call Saul to talk about. But another day I will happily die on that hill.
Definitely.
Okay. Have you got any more bits and bobs about the first episode, or should we closing statement?
I don't. Let's closing statement.
Okay, hit me with it.
Yeah, a good. Yeah. All I can say is it's all good, man. That's all I can say.
Ah, well, there we go. I feel that Kim and Jimmy's relationship is starting to break down, as we kind of knew it would. Interested to see where the Fring-Mike relationship goes. Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, I am interested to see the Fring-Mike thing, because they are, in a way, they are both these computer men, driven by logic instead of emotion.
Yes.
It's interesting to see how their dynamic continues to play out and stuff.
Definitely. Okay. Episode...
Okay, 502?
50% off. It was written by Alison Tatlock. What a great name. It was directed by Norberto Barba. I hope I've not butchered that name. And it's starring Bob Odenkirk, Jonathan Banks, Ray Seahorn, Tony Dalton, Giancarlo Esposito, and Michael Mando.
Well, hey, my opening statement is a compelling look into Saul's life as he spins scheme after scheme. I could watch him scheming and plotting and doing the tent stuff and that. I could watch that all day. Also, is that really how Crazy 8 got his name? Oh my god.
A continuation of the game of chess that a continuation of the games of chess that are being played on all fronts. Up until this point, it felt like two different shows, but I think we are finally bridging the worlds of the legal and the criminal. Well, let's...
Is that really how Crazy 8 got his name?
Yeah.
Oh my god! That's brilliant and annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, because was it way back in OG Breaking Bad? And they said, Crazy 8? What the hell does that mean? What's that? It's like, I don't know, it's just Crazy 8. That's just his name. It's just from a game of poker. Ocho Loco.
And that is a great way to do it as well. Because they just start off...
It is.
Rather than just going, hello, I am going to call you Crazy 8. You know, like, when they... It's like in Star Wars, when Anakin becomes Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine just goes, you will now be called Darth Vader. And everyone in the audience is like, oh, so that's how he got it. But if it's like, it seems much more organic in this show. It's like, oh, that's
I've never actually watched the all of Star Wars. Is that really how Darth Vader gets his name?
Yeah, he killed... So
it's not based on his own... It's not... Vader is not based on anything. It's not a religious thing. It's just...
Nope, he kills...
Oh, crikey.
He kills a Jedi Master, played by...
Naturally.
Samuel L. Jackson. And he's like, oh, what have I done? And then he's like, I will help you save your wife if you join me. And he was like, okay. And
All right.
And the Emperor was just like, you will now be called Darth Vader. And then all you hear is, yeah, 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 yeah. It felt so on the nose. It's just no subtlety whatsoever. But this was so much better. It was like, Ocho Loco. It's like, oh, that's Spanish for Crazy 8. Oh my god. You know, it's they don't hit you over the head with it. Do you know what I mean? No, it's cool though. It's cool.
It is cool. It is cool. I just have loads of statements about, yeah, these things are cool. Yeah, things are interesting. It's okay.
How heartbreaking was the house scene?
Very heartbreaking.
It's like, you know they're never going to get a house. You know that they're never going to end up together. And it's just hitting it home for us. It's like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So sad.
Oh, yeah. It's what you really want that to work. It's every decision that Jimmy or Saul or whoever makes, it just takes him slightly further away from Kim.
Yeah.
Like, if he turned around tomorrow and said, okay, no, this whole Saul Goodman thing is dumb as hell, I'm going to burn that idea and go back to Jimmy McGill elder law. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be that's what you want him to do.
Of course, but obviously it's too late. It's gone. What was I going to say? I thought his dad was dead. I really thought that Victor was going to kill Nacho's dad at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, yeah, me too, definitely.
I was in the edge of my seat for that. And then when Gus gets in the car, I was like, oh, fucking hell.
It's just intimidation.
He adjusts the mirror and you can only see his eyes. It's like, oh my god! It's like looking into the eyes of a shark.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
That was cool. I
think something I quite like is how this Breaking Bad universe, it has like a layer of dry wit.
Yeah.
Which you don't see in a lot of other dramas. Like when he's fiddling about with that drain pipe, and then he goes down the ladder, stands there, and goes, "Yeah, drain pipe's busted," and hits it, and the drugs just fall to his feet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of dry wit, and even the Saul Goodman stuff, like what we were talking about earlier. Oh, thank God! Oh, thank Christ!
Oh, thank Christ!
That stuff. It's that is very, very dry wit. It's this joke aspect of it that does really well in this show.
Yeah, definitely. The jump on the roof was a bit silly, I thought. Like Nacho on the roof.
Oh yeah, that was. I didn't really understand how he did that. Did he climb up the next door building and then jump over?
Yeah, I think you had to suspend your disbelief for a little bit for that one, which I don't like. I hate it when they do that, but it happens once every now and then. Mm-hmm. How do you think Lalo will disrupt Gus's money?
I can only presume killing his distributors. The bloke stood on street corners selling drugs. I can only imagine he would kill them.
Yeah. Do you think Lalo is buying Nacho's sort of way to gain his trust? Do you think he's believing, yeah, you jumped on that roof because you want the product and it's not to impress me?
I'm not sure, because it does seem very... I mean, obviously, we know that that Nacho is trying to impress Lalo, but if it does seem very obvious that that's Nacho's endgame, is impressing Lalo enough that he leaves his dad alone.
Yeah. I don't know. Lalo's gonna do something drastic. I think everyone's just sort of... Even you could, because Gus is afraid of him. Like, he's very concerned about Lalo. He's like, no, we're not gonna make the super lab until he's been dealt with. And that's pretty, you would think that even with Walt, Gus continued his business. Do you know what I mean? Even when Walt was like against him and they were plotting to kill each other, Gus continued his business. But Lalo, it's like, no, we're stopping immediately.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah.
You have any questions?
I have I'm just looking through all my stuff. I'm so sorry for this silence. It is not good.
So it's all right. It's a good show. It's dumbfounding. It causes utter bewilderment.
I have a question.
Go on. Oh, thank Christ!
Oh, thank Christ! Thank God! Is Kim always how she was in the house? Because this is my first real foray into the world of Kim, is these 2 episodes. Is she always that sort of vaguely sad? Or is it just her dissatisfaction at her relationship with Saul?
Yeah, she it's only when something's wrong. It's only when she's concerned about something.
Yeah.
But normally they're quite happy together and they laugh quite a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
So it's just she's just very concerned about what Jimmy's doing and what Jimmy's feeling. Because she was duped. Jimmy basically called her a sucker and made fun of her without him even realizing, and she's still trying to get past that. And then Jimmy starts encroaching on her clients and things like that, and sort of pushes her, and she ends up doing it even though she didn't really want to. But yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon.
I have a question. Wouldn't you just pour some water down the drain pipe to get the drugs out?
That might...
Because the drugs are in little sealed bags.
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe they didn't have water. I don't...
Also, why is... Surely that's not a good way to sell drugs, is to make druggies come to you. Because if they're spending all their money on drugs, it's like, I'm just going to get the bus downtown to buy some drugs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't check out to me. Like, drive up and say to that guy, oh yeah, we want 3 drugs, please. And they give him $100 or whatever.
Can we have 3 drugs, please? And another question: why would she put it all down at the same time?
Yeah, because she didn't before when it was just 2.
Yeah, it was like,
she put them down 1 at a time.
Why didn't you just put them down 2 at a time, or maybe 3 at a time at most? Putting down 10 is obviously going to get stuck. God's sake. Can't get the staff.
I have a question.
Go on.
Are the crimes that those 2 druggies committed because of Saul's 50% off thing, is Saul responsible for those crimes?
Yeah, well, Kim sort of touched on that, and she was like, aren't you just encouraging people to commit crimes if you give them this discount? So that's the whole point of... That's the whole reason they do it. It's like, well, if we just do non-violent things for a good couple of days and just have some fun, we're going to get 50% off ordeal. So there you go.
Mm. I do appreciate, this is something, it's both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's one of those things I'd forgotten and then remembered when I started watching this again. I'd forgotten how good at dialogue the Breaking Bad writers are.
Yeah.
It's very poetic without feeling poetic.
Yes.
Like, it's not up its own arse, and it's not too complicated, and it's just the right blend of straightforward enough to understand, very characterful, and just complex enough that it conveys lots of different double meanings and stuff.
Definitely. Another thing they're good at is shots, like ambiguous shots, and just gorgeous shots. Like the two shots at the start of the episode and at the end of the episode of the gnome and the ice cream cone. It's like that sticks in your mind. It's like it's so you don't even know what it means. It's just like, no, it's there. It's right at the centre of your brain. That's what I remember most from that episode.
Do you think the very specifically smashed gnome is representative of something?
I think it's like a symbol of this happy garden is going to get trashed or something like that. You know, this this tranquil world that they've all inhabited is going to just come crashing down, and something's going to get broken.
I did think maybe it's something about like an eye for an eye or turn a blind eye or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And
because it's like Saul is turning a blind eye to these crimes that he's vicariously committing, essentially.
Yep.
Because he believes he's justified in his anti-establishment views.
Yep.
So everything he does is justified.
And the ice cream cone at the end, that is just like synonymous with like sadness and like dread.
Yeah,
it's like
a
child dropping their ice cream cone in the ground. That's just like heartbreaking for a child, you know.
It's one of my childhood memories. So at the seaside with my parents, we're in this like a harbour-y place, and I had a strawberry ice cream on a cone, and I dropped it, and I was so sad.
God.
I had the cone in my hand, and I was licking the ice cream, and the ice cream fell off the cone, and I remember genuinely crying for so long.
You felt so sad, and then Nacho came along and took you to a drug meet. And you were all fine again.
Yes, I was fine again after that.
It's all good, man. Oh, I did it again. Oi, 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 oi.
I like that Saul orchestrated the lift.
Yeah.
I liked all those scenes in the courthouse, like the ones at the start of the episode where he's waiting outside the door for the lady to come out. I've forgotten her name. He's waiting outside the door for that lawyer lady to come out. And he talks to somebody and says, "Oh, how about we move the trial to next Thursday? Or how about we do this? Or how about..." And then he talks to that other client of his, and he says, "Long sleeves because that tattoo's very good." Yeah. And he talks about take out the piercing on your lip or whatever. And I like he has a lot of plates spinning at any one time, but at no point does it feel like he's being overwhelmed.
No.
It's a very impressive way to represent his sort of social genius in a way, and like The one that really hit it home for me was I forget who it was. I think it was a different lawyer came out of an office, and as Saul was walking down a corridor, said to him, "What the hell did you just do? Suddenly they've got new information on the such and such case." That's Saul's life.
Yeah, definitely.
Is people saying to him, "What the hell did you just do? How have you?" He's dumbfounding people around him constantly because he's beating them at their own game.
Yeah.
That's the really impressive thing about his character. I really like that.
And we've finally got the headset that it has.
Yes.
So we've introduced the headset now, so the costume is almost complete.
It's so iconic.
Oh, it really is.
That earpiece thing, yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, it's so good. And then finally, we are now bridging the worlds.
Yes.
Jimmy, after seasons of being left alone to sort of succumb to his emotional distress and just sort of give up on the world, he is now being reacquainted with Nacho and is finally gonna do some illegal shenanigans, and it's all gonna come tumbling down.
Is Nacho in Breaking Bad?
No, he's just mentioned.
Because I think Nacho is gonna die. That's the vibe I'm getting, is that Nacho is gonna die in some way, probably to protect his dad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if when Lalo is eventually banished back to South America or Mexico or wherever he's from, because they said south of the border a few times. So when Lalo is banished again, I think Gus wouldn't be above killing Nacho just because he's a tie to Lalo. Wouldn't be above just killing Nacho and then killing Nacho's dad, just because it's like eliminate all witnesses sort of thing.
I think Lalo's gonna die.
Yeah,
because Gus goes to Hector after he's poisoned all the cartel members in Breaking Bad, and Gus says Joaquin was the only family that you had left, and now he's dead. So it's like, Gus must think that Lalo's dead for him to say that.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't die. Maybe Gus just believes that he's dead, but in Gus's mind, Lalo has to die for him to say that, because that's Hector's nephew. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Indeed we will. So that's got me thinking now. Are they gonna? How is Lalo gonna die? Is it gonna be like some sort of a desert execution, or is it gonna be a Mike sort of just throws him in a hole or something? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's so investing, man! I cannot wait.
It is. I'm thoroughly invested in this now.
Yeah, and you haven't even seen it.
No.
You've just watched some videos, and it's like, that's how good it is. It's just, you can start from season 5, have a couple of videos watched, and that's you up to date.
Oh yeah. I think I've run out of CRQs for 503.
So have I. 502.
Oh yeah, 502. That's the one.
Yes, so have I.
Do you want to do some cheeky closing statements?
Yes.
Make sure it's cheeky though.
Go on. Cheeky characters, cheeky events, cheeky excitement. There you go. Done.
Very good. Cheeky, very good to see Saul practice his version of the law. I like it. I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm invested now. I'm thoroughly invested.
Excellent.
I want to see Saul doing more law. Imagine how much better Suits would be, or Suits would have been if
Saul's in it.
If Saul was in it. Sorry, it's what's his name? Jessica Pearson and Saul Goodman is in the next office. Jessica Pearson is in her very serious office, writing with her fancy pen, and just like sipping a coffee. And Saul Goodman is next door saying, "Look, listen. You don't need to be. I don't need to hear that a piece of a fuselage landed on your house. I just need to hear that you saw the explosion, and I can put together a class action." And he's like all about turnover and money. Oh, that'd be great. Imagine Suits with Saul Goodman.
That would.
Man, somebody get on that. That'd be great.
So, Lewis Litt's back in the office. Oh, thank God. Thank Christ!
Oh God!
Oh God!
I do like Suits. I preferred early Suits to late Suits. Chloe and I ended up stopping watching it after a while because we just sort of it became a bit samey and we stopped being quite so invested. But Lewis Litt is a really good character. I really enjoyed Lewis Litt.
I've got his mug.
Like, what's the mug?
You just got lit up.
Yeah, that's.
I've got that printed on a mug.
But I really liked the like whenever Lewis Litt was in therapy and he was like on the phone to his counsellor or whatever it was, and he would hold a pillow in front of him, like he'd cuddle a pillow. I really liked things like that. Like Lewis Litt was a very good character that wasn't explored to his full extent. I think.
I agree. I certainly agree with that.
I think that might be the end of all of the Better Call Saul today.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. We
talked
managed
for
to
a
get
good
it.
old while.
We managed to get it past an hour, at least. For once.
I think I've got no idea how long this one's going to be, because my recording has been continuous for like an hour and 50 minutes now. But we had 10 minutes where we couldn't get the connection working, so Christ knows how long the final episode's going to be.
It's all good, man.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good.
I'm gonna say that quite a lot. I can know myself very well, and I know that I'm gonna keep doing that. No matter how tedious.
I thought you only told a joke once and then never told it again. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. You've broken the facade. that well structured, unbreakable chain of armour. Should we do closing statements for the show?
Aye, go on then.
You first.
Thank Christ! Thank God! And that's my closing statement.
Yes, I do. A story about grey characters that act like real human beings. A heartbreaking tragedy that tells us right at the beginning that it is doomed to fail. Breaking Bad is fun and crazy and a catharsis. Better Call Saul is mature, slow, somber, and dreadful.
That is something that is impressive about this show relative to Breaking Bad. Is Breaking Bad was sort of a romp. You had no idea what's coming next.
Yep.
No idea at all. But with Better Call Saul, because of the gene sequences, the whole thing has this sort of spectre of death and failure looming over it. It's like, no matter what Saul does next, he's still going to end up in, where is it, Ohio, where he ends up, where he manages a Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I like is that they say that at the end of Better Call Saul, no, Breaking Bad. But Saul is just like, in a month from now, best case scenario, I'm managing a Cinnabon in Omaha. You know, he's just like...
Yeah.
And that's what he does. So there you go. Nice wee tidbit.
Oh, aye. Very nice.
This show is the king of tidbits. Just little throwaway things that you go, oh yeah, that was amazing. You know, just those little fan service references that don't feel overbearing, but are just, you know, it sort of keeps the mythos of the world alive. Yeah.
Right, you are.
Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah. There we go. Have we got to do some shilling now? Is that next on the list?
Yeah, we've got to do some shilling. I am on Instagram at Ohiram. I'm on Facebook at Daniel Kerr. I'm on Twitter at Kerzo2000 that I don't really use. What are you on?
I am on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley. I am on Twitter at LewisBrindley4. I have a Facebook page which is called Lewis Brindley, which is my name.
Yes. We're hosted by Podomatic. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We are on Deezer. We found out. We've got a YouTube channel, Shouting Into the Void. We've got a PayPal donate button. We are on Patreon. Get your money out. Shove us. Yeah, but please, we love making these podcasts. They're great fun to make, and any support you could give us would be greatly appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
What are we doing next week, Lewis?
That's the end of the shilling. Let's talk about next week. Next week, I think this is a bit of a stab in the dark. Is it Get Out next week?
That's right. It's Get Out. Yeah.
I dragged that out of the depths of my brain. It's one of my favourite horror films. I'm a bit of a, not a horror nerd in that, like, oh yeah, I've watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 300 times, but like I'm really into the sort of the aspects of horror. I'm into thinking about horror more than I am actual horror, if that makes sense.
What was the Birmingham accent that sort of emerged when talking about Chainsaw? Yeah, I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre about 3 times.
I don't know, that just came out. But yeah, I really like Get Out. I'm really looking forward to talking about it. I'm really looking forward to watching it again and doing notes and stuff. It's a classic.
It certainly is.
A
modern classic.
And just in case it wasn't obvious, we are going to be doing the Whispers Into the Void. They are going to be Better Call Saul.
And
we are sorry that this episode is super duper long. Do whatever you have to do to listen to the whole thing. Put it in your bookmarks folder, or what's it called in Google Chrome? Your favourites with the little star.
Yeah,
do that.
take it,
download it. Get through it.
Listen to it in the bath, or I don't know.
Yes, in a bath of beans. Do that.
Do you like beans?
I do like beans. Oh, good stuff. Anyway, join us again for Get Out. More references to the Yogscast.
Yes,
and
Whispering Into the Void with Saul.
Yeah, Better Call Saul.
I don't know what we were doing there.
The 60-minute makeover thing. Oh God! Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you. Bye.